All right, it's Ron Goodall, FightHype.com. I'm here with Steve Too Much Johnson. How's everything going, man?
Everything's going good with me. How about you?
Good, good, man. I'm gonna jump right into it. You came back from, was it Saudi Arabia or the UK?
I was in the UK, Liverpool specifically.
Okay. And
Yeah.
how long were you in the UK for?
About 3 weeks. 3 weeks out there training with Nick Ball for his past fight with Raymond Ford.
You were essentially his main sparring partner, safe to say, to get him ready for
Yeah,
Raymond
I
Ford?
was his main and only sparring partner for the whole camp.
Okay. How'd you even link up with Nick Ball? Like, why did he choose you
Yeah,
essentially? Like, I need.
yeah. It was actually through a friend, Dominique Chowder. He's a boxer at 122, from the East Coast. He's one of my long-term friends, and he kind of connected it for me and orchestrated the communication between us two. And I guess just because he was fighting a southpaw, African American, American style, that's why he ended up giving me the call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just looking like at the pictures of you guys like next to each
Mhm.
other, it's safe to assume, right? A coach would probably look to try to mirror someone physically the same size as the opponent, right?
Yeah.
Raymond's a little bit taller, lankier, things like that. Um, you seem like the same size as in height. So why they chose you to prepare for such a guy so much taller?
Yeah, I think it's really more of like my style, you could
Hmm.
say, because I have a great boxing capability. So does Raymond Ford. I have great head movement, great range of distance. So a lot of things, if you compare them, I'm not saying we are the same fighter, but if you work off of a lot of things, you can kind of see the same habits and the same things that happened in that fight, and which kind of made him, which I feel like is the reason why he was victorious. Just having so many rounds with me and getting that same kind of American southpaw work.
Okay. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go in depth in the details of specific sparring, but what was your thoughts on just, spending 3 weeks with now the current champion at the division, Nick
Yeah.
Ball?
Honestly, it was a big rush forward. I'm really proud of myself. I'm proud of Nick Ball. I'm proud of the whole movement is alone and being out there in the UK. I was alone. I was alone while I was out there as well. I didn't have any trainer with me, so it was a little hard adjusting to the time zones and everything. But I got put my feet down and I just got to work. It was a dope experience. I couldn't say anything better.
You mentioned that you were out there for about 3 weeks, right? And
Yeah.
obviously this was to probably get in preparation for him, weeks in advance for Raymond Ford. Was that your first time going overseas? And if so, what was the difference of just traveling from here and then having to spar
Yeah.
like a guy, Nick Ball, big time difference.
It was definitely a big difference because it was my first time going overseas. I never felt such a much jet lag ever. Cause like we were waking up the train and it was like 2 o'clock at home for me, and but it's midday out there, so I had to kind of adjust pretty quickly and get my legs settled and get my strength together. But once I felt like it all came together, which I adjusted pretty quickly, I started to see some better results in the sparring and just overall my training overall.
You said as over time got better. That was you getting acclimated with
Yeah,
the
exactly. With the time zone.
okay. Do
Yeah.
you obviously you're siding with Nick Ball because that's the guy that, he gave
Yeah,
you the work and things like that.
yeah,
But that Raymond Ford Nick Ball fight was tit for tat. I've heard back and
definitely.
forth, mixed opinions, and so who they thought won the fight. Some people even kind of looked at Raymond Ford and kind of said that he didn't really necessarily fight in a way that typically favors Raymond Ford. Is that more based off Nick Ball style and what he did to make it a tough fight, or do you think um, weight had a factor, or even the jet lag,
Yeah.
aspect that?
I think you can take a lot of things into accountability, but I definitely feel Nick Ball edged out the fight just due to his determination and his relentlessness when it came down to being in the ring. And then he is a strong puncher. So
Mhm.
when you mix in some strong punching power and then his relentless mind frame, and then Ford, in his first title defense, he's trying to come out there, he's trying to make a statement. So he's probably trying to fight Nick Ball's fight, you could say. And I just don't think that was the best situation for him.
With the division being, completely changing over time and things like
Yeah.
that, um, obviously there's so many other champions in that division, and you got to
Mhm.
work with Nick Ball specifically. Do you
Yeah.
think, how does Nick Ball stack against the other champions? Do you think just,
I think he stacks pretty fair. Looking at the division, if you kind of scout it all through from the other three champions, I feel like he has a good shot at getting with them all. It's all pretty eye level. There's not too many that I feel like is just towering over the other when it comes down to skill and capability of winning these fights.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know, there's a guy who essentially was, back and forth with Raymond Ford a
Mhm.
day before the fight with Nick Ball. So
Mhm.
it was Shushu Carrington. He's going to be fighting
Yeah.
this Saturday. How
Yeah.
do you think? Because originally it looked like it was going to be Shushu and Raymond maybe in the future,
Yeah.
but now Shushu and Nick Ball. How do you think a Shushu would stack against someone like Nick Ball?
I feel like it'd be a great fight. It's what boxing needs. A fight like that is exciting because Shushu got a lot of dog in him, got a lot of technique. He's built for it, and Nick Ball's built to come and keep going. So I don't know. I really couldn't give you a decision. I really couldn't give you an answer on who I feel like will win that fight, but I definitely would know it's a fight I want to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And lastly, with the whole, sparring with Nick Ball and that whole
Mhm.
experience and things like that, how much better do you think Nick Ball will be after fighting Raymond Ford? Because, he sparred with you for
Yeah.
weeks. He came off the Ray Vargas,
Mhm.
controversial fight then. So just from your experience with him and then seeing him in that ring with Raymond Ford, do you see him getting, did he look 10% better, 20% better? You think he's going to be?
I feel like he has momentum on his side, so he should be getting better as time goes on. He definitely got better throughout the training camp. I can tell you that now, just from like being around him and watching him and comparing his last fights. He's improved by far, like in my opinion. So I can only see him getting better, but I can only see other people getting better too. So, but only thing I will say, Nick Ball has a lot of momentum on his side, coming off I would say a win off of Ray Vargas, even though it was a draw. I watched the
Mhm.
fight. I thought Nick Ball won. And then, obviously the good performance off Ray Ford. So the sky's the limit, honestly. 126 is shining right now.
Now, I want to gear to you because, to be able to do weeks with Nick Ball, I mean, that dude's stamina looks like it
Yeah.
never ends, right? So I'm
Nah, it doesn't.
assuming your stamina is probably just as impeccable, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, my stamina definitely matches the pace.
so a little bit about yourself, right? Like, you mentioned, I believe you said you're a southpaw,
Mhm.
you have a very, slick, right? I'm assuming, and a
Mhm.
style that can kind of pose a threat to any fighter. So for the fight fans who've never heard of Steve Too Much Johnson,
Yeah.
what can you tell them?
Um, if you want to come see a slick, great boxer with knockout power and harsh and a lot of stamina, I'm the guy, man. I got it all. I really would say I'm a whole package. I can box, I can fight, I can counter. There's not too much in the ring that I can't do because I work on everything. So it's like I'm not really a one-sided fighter, and I adapt to the fighters that I'm in there with.
Mhm.
So even like a Nick Ball, he has a lot of stamina. He throws hard punches. I could play his game. I could play my own game. That's what it comes with being a great fighter. You have to learn how to adjust.
You know, with your specific style, and I'm sure that, it took a lot of years of practice and training. How did you get into boxing? Was it just an amateur, storyline? Did your dad force you into it when you didn't want to as a kid? Like, how did it work out?
I was, just being a little trouble kid outside fighting and stuff. And I had spent the summer at my dad's house, and he was like, "You need to find something to do, play football, basketball, like, keep yourself occupied so you don't get into any more street fights." And I was like, "I want to box." It was pretty random. I never did any boxing prior to that. And I ended up going to a local boxing gym. I trained for about a year, and I really liked it. I was pretty good at it from what it seemed. And then I started taking it serious. And once I took it serious, I've just been on ever since. It's what I love to do.
Outside of Nick Ball, who else have you worked with or been around and got
Mhm.
some good experience with?
Yeah, I've gotten experience. I got a lot of experience in my tank. I've been in the ring with Devin Haney. I've been in the ring with Marios Barrios, Gabriel Flores Jr., Emiliano Vargas, Mark Magasayo. The names go on. Honestly, I've been in there with a lot of good pros. I was just in Vegas sparring Cash Flow. That was good work. Shamir, Devin's fighter.
Mhm.
I think I said his name right. Excuse me if I didn't. But yeah, I got a lot of rounds in with a lot of good fighters. So I've seen a bunch of different styles. I even sparred Scrappy Ramirez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I was about a year and a half ago. I sparred Scrappy Ramirez. That was pretty cool. I just be getting work all over, man. I'm not afraid of nobody.
What was that experience like working with Devin?
Devin, yeah.
Cause
I
I
sparred
think you
Devin.
got him in for Jojo Diaz, right?
Yeah, I
Or
sparred him for the Jojo Diaz fight, and then I sparred him another time too. So when I first sparred him, it was I can't recall the year, but it's on the Showtime. I'm actually on the Showtime when he came out to the Bay Area, and he was sparring Willie Shaw on there too. But the work with Devin was great. He got fast hands. I feel like it was a bit competitive for myself, but it was a great talent, great experience.
I know, we're weeks removed from the Ryan Devin situation, so I know we
Mhm.
still got to wait till everything kind of gets finalized with the New York Athletic Commission. But
Yeah.
just to kind of like small tap and just touch on that, just what's your thoughts? Like, did you think the whole situation just it's unfortunate? Do you think there was anything that could have prevented the situation, or is it just part of boxing?
Um, I don't know. It's kind of an unfortunate situation, like because I was watching the fight live, and I was shocked at the way things were going on, and then to find out like with the PEDs and it's a bad situation to be in, honestly. I really don't even know how to speak on it because I'm not a fan of PEDs. I don't support that whatsoever. So it's like I'm a clean boxer. I like clean boxing, and if he won with as a clean boxer, I would give him more respect. But due to him having the PEDs in the system, I kind of just defer from the whole situation itself. You know?
Hmm.
Yeah,
When you have a bad day in the gym, right? Like
yeah.
sparring, you can, recover, you're just working on things and stuff like that. But, psychologically, what do you think that does when a fighter takes their first loss? Does it do anything to them, or is it just,
It depends who you are. It definitely can hurt a lot of people's ego. It definitely can mess some things up for you, you know, and tear you down mentally. But just depending on the fighter you are, depending on how you come back from your first loss, I feel like the future can still be bright. You know, like a fighter like Ray Ford, I feel like he still has a lot of motivation. I feel like he's going to keep pushing on to try and conquer another division, and you never know what's in the future. Maybe me versus Ray Ford. So,
yeah, you'll entertain
I, yeah, I'll
that?
entertain that definitely. I don't know. It just depends on who you are. I know me myself. I'm a very determined person, so I don't really see much deferring me ever from chasing my goals and being number one in my divisions as I climb through the divisions.
Hmm.
So yeah,
And mentioning losses, Wilder took another hellacious loss
yeah,
against Zhang. Do you think at a time like that, that's when a fighter should hang it up?
definitely, definitely. Water's lost all his fire. He doesn't even. I don't know if did you watch the fight live?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he never threw the right hand. He didn't believe in it. It wasn't like the old Wilder. I didn't see any heart in him. I didn't see any of that Alabama determination, and it was sad to see him go out like that. But I feel like he's done enough for the sport, and he's done enough for himself and his family to where he can retire peacefully and know that he was a great athlete for his time. You know?
Hmm. You
Yeah,
think you think just simply off the fact that he probably made a lot of money.
yeah.
Do you think age maybe played a factor, or just some of the punishment he took from the previous fights from the Fury? Do you think all of that played a factor? Some people blame Elite Scott for changing his style. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think could be the contributing factors?
I think the most severe factor would probably just be the money. I feel like the money, and then like his life is starting to settle. So I feel like Wilder was always fueled off like anger, you know.
Mhm.
And then once his anger died down, he had nothing in the tank to use to fuel himself, you know.
Mhm.
So and then not to mention the punishment from that Tyson Fury fight was horrendous, and just going through all those losses and all those maybe losing friends, and I don't know how his personal life is, but when the stakes are that high and you come short, a lot of things change. So I feel like he definitely changed as a fighter, and even as a person, he's probably a more positive person these days, which is better for him. But it shows in his performance.
Do you think that you fight off anger? Like, how do you operate?
I fought off determination. I have a will to win. I have a will to win. I'm a competitive person, and then I always want to prove something to myself and my family around me. So no matter how much money I get, no matter how much status or you could say clout, whatever it may be, I'm always determined because there's another level that I want to prove. Even when I become world champion, I want to be unified, and then I want to be undisputed, and then I want to be undisputed. I want to be a multi weight division champion. So I'm not really looking at like a number to max out at, or I'm not looking at an age to max at. I'm looking at my history book, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So my last couple set of questions is just, who do you think is the best fighter in your division. And obviously you wouldn't want to smoke with them for
Yeah.
competitive reasons, but
Well, I'm trying to campaign at 122, so obviously, in a way, is the top guy at 122, and I definitely will look forward to getting that smoke one day. I know I'm down in the rankings right now. I'm only 1-0, soon to be 2-0, but I got what it takes, and I know this what I bring to the table. He's probably never seen before, and he has a great style himself. But I feel like my style comebacks with his style, it just make me victorious. I really want that fight one day.
you know, um, your fighter's not comparing you to this fighter, right? But just,
Yeah.
he did have a win against Stephen Fulton, who many people consider like a slick defensive fighter.
Hmm.
Tapala did shades of a shoulder roll and things like that, who seemed to have some success, but, he also took a defeat. Why do you think that you have the recipe to beat someone who's, essentially fought somewhat some of those styles and still was able to get the stoppage?
Because honestly, a lot of those people's styles, well, for one, I'm not scared of nobody. I don't know if anybody gets hesitant when they're in there, but that's never happened to me. And I've been in there with a lot of good opposition. But mainly just when it comes down to my style and who I am as a person, I'm very versatile. I can change it up. If it's not working, we can switch it up. We can change it every round. I got 5 different things that I can bring into a fight. So I never go into a fight with just one plan, one mind frame. I got things I can pull back from 5 years ago that I was working on, and I can introduce it into a fight just on the snap of the call from my corner.
Hmm.
So but I really feel like that though. Like it even shows like with the caliber of work that I was given with Nick Ball and just all the other champions that I've been around. I don't think there's a man that can beat me out there at 122. Definitely.
All right. Well, look, before I let you go, I believe you might have a fight coming up. When are you fighting again? And where can they find you at social media if they want to get a little bit more?
My Instagram is official one Johnson, and I'll be fighting July 13th. Just another fight on my record, just getting myself up there. But I definitely want to get a fight in with that guy Jursly from TMT Boxing. I
Oh,
sparred him.
word?
Yeah, I sparred him not too long ago when he was in his feelings about it, and I was tagging him up. And I definitely want that smoke at 122. So let him know.
Okay, so why I guess I can't end it there, right? Because
Yeah,
you open up a pool, right?
yeah.
So you specifically brought is it simply the fact that you guys had personal sparring, or is it because he's
Yeah,
signed with
so we had
Floyd?
some sparring. I went down to the Mayweather gym and I beat some cat up, and then they got all mad. Him and Jahai Ingram, they got all mad at the fact. So then they came down the next day, found me at pound for pound after I finished up some more work, and I told him to get in the ring. He told me he was gonna knock me out and stuff. I'm tagging him up for what 4 rounds. We supposed to go longer than that, but he couldn't go. He got tired in two. And he just talking like I feel like he just thinks that he's just this big dog. He's some type of gorilla, but he can't mess with me. So I'm telling you, if he wants to if you want to fight, we could fight at 122. It could be my third fight. It could be my fourth fight. It don't matter.
With that, I mean, he's from some of the clips that the fans show or
Yeah.
seen, him knocking people out. I think he's like a former kickboxer, things like that.
Yeah.
Um, would this be kind of one of those like explosive kind of fights where you guys are throwing bombs, or is
Oh
it?
no, I'm cleaning him up. He ain't gonna win. I'm cleaning him up. I'm telling you, it don't matter. His power don't matter.
And I guess on his end, because I think he's coming up. Do you see him taking the fight because you guys are so early in your career, or would it be something that would have to happen later on?
I don't know. Honestly, that's up to him. If he wants to take it later on, then I'm always open to it. But I'm down for it now. Like I said, like I'm a young, hungry fighter. I'm open to anything. If I'm talking about in a way, why would I be scared of, Jersey?
Do you think that Floyd would be able to set that fight up? Because it's a Floyd
Yeah,
fighter,
it's
right?
a Floyd
So
fight, and I feel like if he wants the best for Jersey and he wants to prove and he wants to, they want to see that if Jersey is worth all this investing, and I show it. I'm willing to take the fight on any terms as long as at 122. I'm down for it.
okay. Well, like
Yeah,
I don't want to spill too much stuff out. We gotta, save it for the fight
yeah,
promotion, right? So
yeah.
um, outside of that, you've already gave your social media. So I guess with all things said and done, you'll be back in August
Yep.
and
August
hopefully
3rd as well.
Okay, and hopefully maybe we can get Jersey to get the message across, and then you guys can get that fight.
Yeah, tell him come fight me August 3rd. I got another show out here in Oakland. You can come see me then too. Or I can go to Vegas. I don't care.
Yeah, you come on out here.
Yeah, I'll go to Vegas and fight him. I'll fight him anywhere. I don't care.
Well, if it was another sparring session, would you just do it too, or would it have to be a fight?
No, I want to fight.
Okay,
Yeah,
respect. Got to get paid for it, right?
definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, I appreciate your time, Steve.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.